Hello and a warm welcome to a new episode of Simple Electric with the Polestar 3. We have it here as a dual motor with the performance package, and we've already presented it to you in a classic review with a driving report. The link is in the video description in case you missed it. Today, we're focusing on the consumption of the Polestar 3. That means we'll be driving through the countryside in the city and especially on the highway at 100, 120 and 140. We'll determine what the Polestar 3, with over 517 horsepower of system power, consumes at 160 kilometers per hour. Is it efficient? How is its travel comfort? And of course, we'll also do the charging check from 10 to 80% and see how quickly you can recharge the car on the road. Before we start, check if you're in the einfach, elektrisch community. If not, we'd love your support with a subscription. Free for you, a massive help for us to grow the channel even more. And now it's finally time to check out the brand new Polestar 3 dual motor, fully equipped with the performance package. Before we dive into the starting setup with you, let's take a quick moment to reset the onboard computer here first. We're doing this together here in the Polestar 3 through the menu options because we want to monitor the consumption overland on our journey to New Brandenburg on the highway with the Polestar 3, of course, together with you. That means we've got absolutely perfect weather conditions today. It's a mix of clouds, sunshine, and a couple of quick rain showers. Yeah.
Somehow from every cloud right now.
Currently, the temperature is sitting at 19 degrees Celsius. The battery charge level is currently at 77% state of charge. And we have summer tires on, Stefan.
Absolutely, and we even have all-season tires on. There are 22 inches in total with 265.40 at the front and 295.30 at the rear.
Yes, that fits perfectly with the performance package we've got here, just as we fully anticipated it would. The Polestar 3 comes with the dual motor long-range variant, equipped with a 111 kilowatt-hour gross battery, and you can use up to 107 kilowatt-hours of that capacity. It's all part of the package here. 2 electric motors, one on the front axle and one on the rear, combined. 380 kilowatts of system power, which equates to 517 horsepower and delivers 910 newton meters of torque.
He's already moving forward, that colleague.
Impressive was also his acceleration. We measured it with GPS in the review, where he even beat the factory's claim of 4.7 seconds with 4.61 seconds.
Yes, very good.
We absolutely hope that today he is a real champ when it comes to efficiency and charging speed, right?
I'm really curious.
Yes, I'm a bit cautious about that because we have a Geely platform here where Volvo is being developed, as well as Lotus, Smart, and many great electric cars from China, as well as Secre, but we have a 400-volt system. However, we know from the Smart #5, you've probably also seen a video or two on our channel that with 800 volts and even up to 420 kilowatts, you could charge from 10 to 80% of a 100 kilowatt-hour battery in 15 minutes. That would mean, if we trust the factory specification of 30 minutes, that we would have had an 800-volt system, which it doesn't have. So it would probably take half the time.
Yeah, that'd be so nice.
We found that the Polestar 4 took slightly longer to perform than the factory specifications had indicated, so I'm curious to see how the Polestar 3 handles that today. Otherwise, we have a typical electric SUV, which certainly has aerodynamic aspects, but of course it can't just get rid of its curb weight of 2,584 kilograms, its frontal area either. I'm really curious to see just how efficient the Polestar 3 actually performs on country roads, in the city, and particularly on the highway, on long distances as well. And yes, we'll check back in once we've reached New Brandenburg with the first update and the consumption figures from this countryside drive in Polestar 3. Stay tuned for more details and insights. I think I can already see New Brandenburg on the horizon.
Yeah, like an approach path or something like that.
Oh, great. Yes, and we also have a consumption value on the way there, as we promised you, with 20.2 kilometers driven. At an average speed of 73 kilometers per hour, we used up a total of 18.5 kilowatt hours here. Calculated per 100 kilometers driven, yes, now we're going through New Brandenburg for about 7 kilometers. That means we're resetting the onboard computer again now to figure out the urban consumption for you with the Polestar 3, maybe even just a short city drive. So you have a reference point, but 18.5 isn't actually that bad for such a big, heavy electric SUV.
That wasn't too far off the mark with 380 kilowatts.
So that's something to build on. We've already slipped through New Brandenburg again. It's working out for you today, isn't it, right?
Today's going well, yeah.
Hit a green wave, and yeah, that's why the average speed ended up being 48 kilometers per hour, which is pretty good for today's drive conditions. In New Brandenburg, you can also drive a lot at 60 kilometers per hour. Yeah, it's still a nice medium-sized city where traffic flows smoothly, except maybe during peak times, right?
Yeah, works. Good.
And where you can still move through smoothly. Yeah, the distance is 7.7 kilometers and the average consumption is 11.5 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers driven. There you can see, I think, how good and efficient even larger electric SUVs can perform in the city, because scaled up to a 111 kilowatt hour battery, you could probably almost do 1,000 kilometers. Okay, now that's a bit exaggerated. Rounded up.
Yeah.
In city driving, and let's be honest, not everyone has the typical German commuter distance of 40 kilometers times 22 workdays a month. So in theory, you'd only need to charge the car once a month, which seems pretty convenient and efficient. To have enough energy, that would obviously be pretty extreme. So from that perspective, there are hardly any arguments left, even for those who can't charge at home, to skip electric cars, as most supermarkets and similar places now have charging stations where you can conveniently top up your vehicle while doing your shopping. Yeah, so gradually it's moving step by step and with big strides towards electromobility, right?
Right, it's getting better, for sure.
I also notice it in my circle of friends and acquaintances who were always very distant and said, well, go ahead and make your videos, Ollie, we'll keep an eye on it and so on. When a new car is up for discussion, they've all become a bit spoiled by electric vehicles. How about you?
Cool. They just do. I notice it in myself and also within my circle of friends, ultimately. Many still check out their last person thinking they look pretty cool or something. Maybe I'll actually check them out because they might be thinking or even planning to buy a new car. Or someone might think for commuting or something, a smaller one would also be enough for me.
I mean, we probably can never convince Diesel Dieter.
If it's getting tricky, never. These are the hardcore ones, they stick with it. But honestly, why not give it a shot?
And in the end, we don't want to convert you or anything. You know that with us. We show you what's possible and what's not. We're constructively critical too, and we respect your decisions, how you decide, and simply show you what the cars can already do right now, and where there might still be potential areas that could need improvement or further development. We've arrived at our test track on the A20 motorway. Let's take it for a drive and see how it performs. We're heading in a northerly direction and want to determine the average fuel consumption over a 20-kilometer stretch at average speeds of 100, 120, 140, and 160 kilometers per hour. You know this from our format. At the end, we'll show you the tables with the other tested vehicles so you can compare the Polestar 3 as best as possible with all the other candidates. Yes, we've also entered 100 kilometers into the adaptive cruise control of the pilot system here, and now we're resetting the onboard computer together to see what we can find out. How efficient this electric car can be. We can naturally pass the time until the first result together with you by taking a closer look at all the advanced assistance systems and innovative features integrated here in the Polestar 3, exploring their capabilities. So we have a steering assist here that ensures the car always stays in the center of the lane. Naturally, the lane keeping assist is also integrated as well. And we have the adaptive cruise control, which we can easily adjust to the specific speed needed. To ensure we maintain the perfect distance consistently and safely at all times. Yes, 3 fingers on the steering wheel are enough. So, we have installed a capacitive control here. That's also different from the Polestar 4. There you have to tug at the steering wheel. Exactly, that's kind of a bit annoying, and we even have a lane change assistant where we have to press the turn signal really firmly. Then it should actually carry out the lane change in a semi-autonomous way, just as you'd expect from such a system, right? We'll test it once more in the opposite direction. It's working properly now in this case. I don't know if I jerked the steering wheel or if it was the bump in the road. Anyway, he just cut out. That's obviously a great story, so don't tap it, but really press it through, like when you use that electronic blinker. Look, Stefan, just like that, really firm, like bam. And then you see the part does it completely autonomously. I'm not doing anything now, and I've already switched lanes smoothly. And it also shows it in the head-up display with a dashed line and an arrow pointing to the right. So now we're doing it to the right again. I have to say, it goes smoothly, goes quickly, and is very, very good.
Yes, also really good there. Also relaxed, doesn't pull or anything, even when getting back into the lane or so. Yes, it's good.
What they noticed on the country road is that it doesn't adaptively take over the speeds, but instead Manuel always has to manually adjust the adaptive cruise control to the new speed, which can be slightly inconvenient in practice. I find that a bit disappointing, honestly. I think the only option available is in the settings, where you essentially have to force it to operate with automatic speed limits, which feels like a bit of an unnecessary compromise. And then, of course, it would prevent driving too fast and would have to automatically adjust and limit the speed accordingly. Yeah, that's pretty much how it's designed to function.
That could be. It prevents driving too fast, basically.
Yeah, so we probably didn't turn it on while driving on the country road. We're not driving too fast anyway, maybe just 1 kilometer per hour over sometimes. But I think if it's activated, then it should automatically adjust to the distance control speed logically.
Yes, it should handle that.
The only thing it can't do, as we've already determined, is that even though it consistently offers predictive hints about it in part, so there, where it recognizes it from navigation data. For example, the navigation system knows a town is coming up, then it of course anticipates and shows 50 kilometers per hour in advance. If it's a fixed speed limit, it also displays it to us in the speed warning feature right here on the speedometer. But it doesn't predictively adjust, so it doesn't automatically take over the speed right at the sign.
It spots it first.
Exactly. So there are still some slight areas for improvement, I think, here in the Polestar 3. But if we're being honest, the system actually works really well, especially when you compare it to the Polestar 4.
Right, yeah.
So it naturally makes us wonder why it didn't work out in the Polestar 4, especially since both models were launched almost at the same time. Why would two cars launched at the exact same time end up having such different levels of quality and performance? That doesn't make any sense at all. So feel free to drop your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. I really have to say, I'm genuinely pleasantly surprised by the assistance systems in the Polestar 3. And you can always fine-tune this, so to speak, through over-the-air updates that are installed remotely and easily. We already determined the first value. That means we drove a distance of 20.8 kilometers at an average speed of 100 kilometers per hour, as shown by the speedometer. The onboard computer showed an average speed of 97 kilometers, and we had a consumption of 20.3 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers driven. I actually think that's pretty good now.
Since we haven't tested anyone yet, that's definitely something worth considering more closely.
The lower one in the vehicle class, so it's a very, very decent value, and I personally find it quite excellent. I'm now at 120 kilometers per hour. That's where the adaptive cruise control system also locked itself in place. We need to make a lane change here now because everyone is driving at pretty much the same speed, which is slowing us down a bit. We can now reset the onboard computer and want to find out over the next 20 kilometers. How the average consumption changes at an average speed of 120 kilometers per hour. A good electric car in 2025 definitely requires a reliable and efficient navigation system, with route planning, charging planning, and all the essential features you might need to ensure a smooth, comfortable, and stress-free journey with such a car. Ideally, we also have voice control, where we can manage everything through speech, and that's what we naturally want to try out here. In the Polestar 3, in the Google Automotive system with you. That means we say, hey Google, please take us to Munich to Viktualienmarkt 1 right now.
Please set the navigation to Viktualienmarkt and guide us directly there right away immediately.
That goes quite smoothly. What it does is it automatically adds all the necessary charging stops here as needed, ensuring everything is perfectly planned and organized for the entire journey ahead of time. It shows us the state of charge we'll arrive with at each station and calculates how long we'll need to charge to keep driving smoothly. It really is one of the best navigation systems with charging planning that we've been able to test up to this point, Stefan, don't you think?
Yeah, and Google, it always works, we know that, and the fact that you also display the charging plan, including the percentages and all, that's really cool.
Beyond that, you obviously have a wide variety of different configuration and adjustment options available right here in the charging station section. That means you can apply specific filters here, like the charging speed range you want. To charge at, ensuring the stations are always open, and you can even select individual charging card providers based on your specific preferences and needs. If you had, for example, a subscription with a provider where you got a discounted rate for the charging price, you could pre-select that so the navigation system always takes that charging station into account, if available, for the charging planning, and factors it in as well. And I think that's also another nice distinction that we want in addition to electric cars, because everyone probably has their favorite charging provider, right? Where they can charge, I don't know, for 39 cents per kilowatt hour with a small monthly base fee, for example. Of course, there's also Polestar Charge, where there might be some interesting charging rates. Feel free to check it out on the Polestar website or get informed at the Polestar dealership to see what could potentially be the best price performance option for your specific electric car model available right now. Otherwise, we mostly prefer using Google Maps, especially in urban areas like our favorite neighbor Berlin, which is practically our suburb, you know, really. Then, when we're just zipping through, we actually use Google Maps the most because it always has these sneaky shortcuts where you can save a few seconds or minutes, or sometimes even bypass the odd traffic jam. And when you have it like here, I think it's also in good software, Stefan, you can just go ahead and here and integrated it. That's of course brilliant. During the charging break, you also have entertainment with a few games with YouTube, where you might then, if you feel like it, you can check out our latest videos. And while driving, you enjoy the best entertainment available. On one hand, through Spotify, and on the other hand, naturally through phone mirroring features such as Apple CarPlay and Android Auto Wireless, which we also provide. We'll definitely test that out a bit later, since we've got the Bowers & Wilkins sound system installed here. And of course, we might crank it up later to really give it a proper test, right?
Yes, hopefully. I think we already know it's going to turn out really well.
But first, let's take a look right away at what it consumes at an average speed of 120 kilometers per hour. And it's that time again. We've come quite a way here on the A20 highway, and let's take a look at the consumption value. We've driven 20.4 kilometers, 20.5, 27 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers driven at 117 kilometers per hour average speed. Yeah, it's clear that it's now going up a bit, of course, especially at this pace. But you'll see later in the table, when you compare it with vehicles that have similar body styles and sizes, you'll definitely be surprised by how well it performs, Stefan. Wouldn't you agree with that assessment of its capability?
Absolutely, yes, especially compared to the others.
Exactly. That means I've now set the adaptive cruise control to 140 kilometers per hour. We are resetting the onboard computer together, so we can now find out, at an average speed of 140 kilometers per hour, how the efficiency of the Polestar 3 develops over time and under these conditions. We received the next consumption reading, 21.4 kilometers driven at an average speed of 134 kilometers per hour. And we calculated the value of 37.3 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers driven. Yes, that has already increased exponentially a bit, Stefan, hasn't it?
Yes, it surely has.
But that's just how it is. In electromobility, especially with cars that have a larger frontal area and higher vehicle weight, it can sometimes increase more noticeably and significantly. Yes, we're going to make a U-turn, now heading in the opposite direction. And of course, we want to determine the average consumption at the average speed of 160 kilometers per hour with you once more time again. We made the U-turn. I set the adaptive cruise control to 160 kilometers per hour, and now I'm resetting the onboard computer, and let's see over the next 20 kilometers how the consumption develops. As we already mentioned to you, we of course want to test and experience the Bowers & Wilkins sound system with you. And of course, I'll start the music here, and we want to hear how our Simply Electric song, how powerful the sound is here, right?
Plug it, turn it on. Let's go. Rolling down the highway, lights are shining bright. Feel the future coming, no smoke in the night. He's the man with format, charging up your mind. Simply electric, leave the past
it's just a really awesome sound system because it delivers crystal clear highs, fantastic mids, and also a nice deep bass that stays clean and perfectly balanced, never getting too boomy or overwhelming.
No, it's really comfortable and it delivers a nice room sound. It's definitely worth the investment, I'd say, no doubt about it.
Well, with that song, right?
Yeah, that's the one for me.
And it's happened again around us, Stefan, and this time we have a new consumption value. 20.9 kilometers. We drove at an average of 155-156 kilometers per hour, according to the onboard computer, and had a consumption of 42.5 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. I'd say take a look at the tables, compare the Polestar 3 with the other Wumpf Brummen, and then I'm really curious to hear your thoughts down in the comments. What could possibly be better than driving up to a pub in an electric car, right?
Simply lovely.
And then at 115 kilometers per hour here in the Polestar 3 on the highway, I have to tell you, the chassis, especially here with the performance package, it's really excellent. On one hand, it really provides a solid, confident feeling, even when driving at such high speeds in an electric SUV like this. But it still delivers the kind of travel comfort you'd expect in this vehicle class because, after all, we're driving an electric SUV here, not a sports car, and that balance is really handled better now. The team really fine-tuned it to perfection, and even now, taking this curve at a solid 215, we're deliberately putting it into the load shift, pushing it a bit sharper into the performance braking system to really test its capabilities and see how it responds under pressure. It does nothing, no jerking, no twitching, absolutely nothing. So you really have to give Polestar, which has always stood for performance within Volvo, a genuine compliment here. They've truly nailed it. And yes, the two electric motors with 380 kilowatts, 912 Newton meters of torque, it's really a joy to drive the electric car briskly. With such a big battery, I don't think we need to consider consumption right now. It's really a lot of fun. Now it's reaching 120 and I'm really going into the deceleration. There was no one behind us. Wow, I have to say this is really exciting. We want to accelerate out of here from 80 kilometers per hour and really push the 517 horsepower to see what this beast can truly deliver. We had 37% in the battery, so not the maximum voltage, but still we had a very, very good performance. We were already at 190 kilometers per hour. Stefan measured that via GPS with the Draghi and definitely had good values for you right away. And now it goes nicely into the long right-hand curve at 215 kilometers per hour. And there too, it really sits fantastically on the road. The car's aerodynamics also contribute their fair share. We have some light wind noise here because there's naturally a bit of wind as well. You can see it behind the wind turbines. But Stefan, what values did we find?
Yeah, what do we have? 80 to 120, 3.47, 100 to 160, 7.08, 100 to 180, 10.87, and 100 to 200, 16th of July.
These are all, I think, decent values. Of course, you can't compare that with a Porsche Turbo GT, which of course with over 1,000 horsepower, I believe, I don't know, accelerates from 0 to 200 in 16 seconds or so. Or even 300, I don't recall what it was. I think it's great for an electric SUV and the deceleration is superb. Here's a colleague driving a bit slower on the highway, which I also think is great. Really eco-friendly with his up, and he brakes smoothly too. It always feels secure and controlled. And yes, Stefan, maybe that's the perfect transition over to your measuring device here, which you've been carrying for us for over 5 years now. And it really captures the driving and travel comfort in cars so well. It's verified, it's calibrated, it's award-winning, and it's simply referred to as Stefan's Popometer. And how's your seating and overall travel comfort feeling today here on the highway drive?
So, first of all, it's really comfortable. I like the seats because I can adjust them perfectly to my preferences, and it's even better since it's all electric, not manual at all. Yeah, very good. I can also extend the seat forward quite a bit, which is especially great for people with slightly longer legs. It's really comfortable and convenient for them. I've got excellent side and thigh support. I'm really quite impressed with the suspension system. Hardly any body roll or tilt, potholes, bumps. It takes it all in stride, handling everything really smoothly. Except for braking during load shifts, it's really comfortable even as a passenger.
Yes, I can only agree with that. I already told you that the chassis was really very impressive for me, that it also offers maximum stability and comfort. It delivers outstanding performance for such a highly tuned, powerful SUV, and unlike many other SUVs that feel like rocking horses, we have, I think, a corresponding tightness here. We can also adjust it to suit our preferences perfectly. That means you have the option to adjust the suspension and the suspension feel while driving directly from the menu under settings, enabling you to tailor the ride experience to your preferences as you go. We have always been in the middle setting. You can set it to agile or firm. The same goes for the steering feel. I always prefer a slightly lighter steering wheel, which you can also set to firm on the highway, for example, because you don't need as much turning angle there. So that's where you're really being individual. I just switched from range to performance at the end because we kept pushing it with the put the Hable on the table, and that's where the car truly shows its capabilities, so that it accelerated at its maximum. And I have to say, this combination of electric power, chassis, and seat comfort, ride comfort is really, I have to say, one of the best electric SUVs we've tested so far.
Absolutely, yes, everything just kind of fits here.
For a sedan, the Mercedes EQS SUV is probably ideal. But yes, that's probably where the price starts, at the performance level where this car reaches its limit. But that's always a completely different category. And yeah, the other cars are all great, but this perfect mix for me, I have to say, I'm truly impressed by how it balances everything so effortlessly. A bit, I think, at some point. Maybe I'll really do a little parking here in reverse. It's just one of those satisfying moments when everything clicks and you slide in perfectly without even overthinking it. It's like a small win that makes driving fun and rewarding, even if it's something as simple as backing into a spot. Those little things really add up. You can see that they also integrated a 360-degree camera system here in the Polestar 3, which has a decent resolution where you also have different views. We already showed you all of that in detail in the review. Yes, and now we want to bring the battery charge from 10% up to 80% here and see if it matches the factory's stated claim of approximately 30 minutes as well. To recharge here, and we, of course, had already entered the charging station as the destination in the navigation beforehand, so it could perfectly precondition the battery. The charger also displays a 10% charge level, and yeah, we're now going to check if it can actually hit the potential 250 kilowatt peak power. That's the good thing about Ionity, that here at the rest area by Minerland, each charger can go up to 350 kilowatts individually. Can charge. Yes, it's going up nicely with the charging power, now at 185 kilowatts right away. And a lot of you always ask me, hey Ollie, how do you charge your electric car? Yes, how do I charge my electric car? Of course, with a charging card that I have connected to InCharge, but InCharge is an internet platform and also available as an app where you can collect free kilometers. On one hand, by completing awesome challenges where you get rewarded with free kilometers. You have the opportunity to also rate charging stations and help out the entire community. You also get free kilometers for that, and that's where my many free kilometers come from, as you have the chance to be rewarded with free kilometers through online purchases and affiliate links. And combined with a charging card, you can very conveniently, simply by tapping, then reload it back into the car for free. So we've already charged over 50,000 kilometers for free. So if you're interested in Charge, feel free to check it out in the video description. We've been working very successfully with InCharge for over 5 years now, and it's been great. Yes, Let's take a look where we're at right now. It's supposed to reach 250 kilowatts at peak, but we're currently at 187. We're currently at a leisurely 13% state of charge here, but we've already managed to recharge the first 4.5 kilowatt hours right away. And yeah, I'm obviously hoping that we'll manage to charge the battery from 10% to 80% in approximately 30 minutes or so. Currently at 22% state of charge, and it's staying at 193 kilowatts for now. We've already charged 15 kilowatt hours in just 5 minutes, with a steady breeze blowing here in this Dutch city.
Now even the jackets have been pulled out and put on.
Yeah, definitely. I always have my TSG Neustroder jackets ready. It's quite windy, and especially with that hood. You know, somehow I'm turning 50 this year, and since then, yeah, around my 49th year, I really started to appreciate the hood for myself. A bit late, huh?
It's still better late than never, right?
Yeah. The charging option is also the perfect opportunity to walk around the Polestar 3 with you guys again. You can see the very sleek performance look with its aerodynamic accent here as the air flows smoothly, almost like through a front spoiler, and this naturally enhances the aerodynamics of this electric SUV even more, making it incredibly efficient. Yes, we have on board the HD Matrix Pixel LED headlights, which project the best possible light onto the road while ensuring they never blind oncoming traffic, no matter the conditions. Always perfectly illuminate the road. Yes, the performance package also includes performance wheels, 22 inches in size, featuring Swedish gold-colored brake pads and a high-performance Brembo braking system. So you noticed how much power it had, of course, and what I also find really awesome as a small yet super stylish accessory
is the valve cap right here. You know it.
Right? These are those little details that I think really set a car apart and make it even more likable, appealing, and uniquely special. Just like the Schween gold-colored seatbelts inside. Yeah, the frameless side mirrors generated some wind noise at 215 kilometers per hour. But maybe that's just something you can't really avoid at that kind of speed, you know? Otherwise, you've definitely got a sleek and visually appealing electric SUV design going for you, especially at the back, with a nice coupe-like sloping roofline without sacrificing headroom in the rear. We also showed that very nicely in the review, and we've got a sleek rear end, a poppy butt, as you might say, with modern LED taillights and a sporty rear spoiler that again guides the air smoothly through. And Stefan, we don't have any visible screws. I think that's really nice, as it enhances the clean and premium design. So yeah, Polestar can definitely pull it off too, delivering style and functionality. They integrated the technology into the bodywork, the side mirrors, and the windows. Yes, trunk space, some will say 484 liters for a 4.90 meter electric SUV. I had hoped for more. He has more with a 30-liter frunk, but in the end, I think those who might desire such a special vehicle are also not the ones who always transport the most, right?
I don't think so, no.
Yes, otherwise you have 100 kilos of roof load, I think, plus an optional hitch with 2.2 tons capacity. Tons of brake trailer load at a 12% incline and 100 kilograms vertical load, ideal for accessories such as a rear bike rack or a spacious luggage carrier securely mounted on the hitch. Yes, 32% state of charge. We're cruising here with 151 kilowatts. Why cruising? Because there are now electric cars like the Xpeng G6 that can charge at 450 kilowatts with an entry-level price. I think around the mid 40,000 euros, or then the G9, which is also an exciting competitor, maybe even to the Polestar 3, which is supposed to charge at 500 kilowatts, and I think has an entry-level price around the end of 60,000 euros, and is thus 10,000 euros cheaper than the rear-wheel drive version of the Polestar 3, which has just newly entered the market. So there, the Polestar 3 was also under a bit of pressure, you know?
Definitely, yes, let's see.
That's why I'm surprised Geely's trying out these experiments over here. Volvo's jumping in as well. 800 volts and the more performance-oriented Volvo variant, Polestar, you should really be going for 800 volts instead of 400 volts because charging at 156 kilowatts with 34% was definitely state-of-the-art back in 2018. But by 2025, it's just way too sluggish. 50% after 16 minutes. We successfully managed to charge up 45.6 kilowatt hours into the battery pack. If we were to just take 2, which you can't do because the charging speed slows down as the battery level gets higher and higher, then we would be charging from 10 to 80% in about 32 minutes. What a shame, isn't it?
Yes, actually, if he says it can do more, why doesn't he do it?
But let's not jump ahead just yet. Maybe he'll catch a second wind. We've seen it quite a few times with Korean vehicles that suddenly kick into high gear and charge really fast. 30 minutes are up and we've reached 75% instead of 80%, and now we've successfully charged 76.3 kilowatt hours in total. It's still charging at 113 kilowatts, at least it hasn't dropped below 100, which is certainly a small advantage, but now let's see how much longer it will take to reach the remaining 4%. 80% in 33 minutes, that's not bad. We've now added 81.2 kilowatt hours. Sure, faster would always be better, but as many of you often mention, I'll just check my emails or take a quick coffee break instead. I'll take a power nap, I'll go for a walk, I'll take the dog out, I'll take my lunch break, and for some people, even under 30 minutes is too slow.
Ja, da kann's gar nicht schnell genug
In the
eigentlich
end, you probably can't please everyone anyway. In the end, you'll have to evaluate the charging time for yourselves. We wanted to check the performance with you again, started the Draggy once more. The battery is now at 80%. I switched to performance mode and we're going to do the kick down once more to check and measure the acceleration values again. And that feels seriously performant at least. We're already hitting 150, 160, nearly 170, and now up to 180 kilometers an hour here, per hour. And that's just an absolutely amazing experience here with the car. To really push it and accelerate all the way through without hesitation. Yes. In the end, Stefan is now checking the values, the results we've managed to achieve there.
We got 60 to 100 in 2.24, 80 to 120 in 2.24, 2.4, 100 to 160 in 5.97, 100 to 180 in 9.45, and from 100 to 200 it's 50.3 kilometers per hour.
So definitely a good second, for sure faster, and a second definitely makes a difference. In sports cars.
Definitely, yeah.
So you see, it's of course also always a bit dependent on the voltage and the state of charge, how much power the motors can deliver and how quickly the cars can accelerate. Right? The stronger the battery is filled, the higher the readiness for power will be naturally, and that directly impacts the performance. We also took the Polestar 3 with the performance package for a proper 32.2 kilometer drive at an average speed of 163 kilometers per hour. And as you can see, it consumed over 75 kilowatt hours. And yes, if you calculate it up, it's 111 kilowatt hours gross, 107 kilowatt hours net. Yes, how far? 150 kilometers
Ich
max.
glaube nicht mal, ne, 100,
20, 30 at the very most, I would say.
And there, I could imagine that someone like Diesel Dieter or Petrol Petra says, hey guys, I just put my 70 liters of diesel or petrol in the tank, and of course they naturally consume more. In terms of fuel consumption, but it's still a different range altogether.
Ja,
Many
na klar.
people always wonder why I have a hazard warning because, well, someone had a breakdown there. And that's why it's always crucial, especially here on the winding roads of Mecklenburg, to stay alert and be warned about any potential hazards ahead of you. So, because some always think I'm doing something bad here, I'm not, because hazard warnings are of course also allowed. And with that, let's slowly but surely come to the conclusion. And by conclusion, I also mean the conclusion from the review, the first video, and now the second video with the consumption test and the charging check. Because in the first video, we only drew an interim conclusion. What we liked is simply the design. It's fresh, modern, high-performing, and aerodynamically optimized. And especially here in the interior, we have a leather-free cabin. I think that's also really good, and we have a nice material mix. Sure, there are some piano black parts that maybe could have been handled differently, but overall I think it turned out quite well. Especially with the glass roof, I might have wished for a roller blind or some extra option to darken it a bit more effectively and conveniently. Consumption itself. Why focus on it right now? That's just how electric SUVs are at the moment, especially in this weight class, like this one with a curb weight of 2,584 kilograms and a length of 4.90 meters. In comparison to others, it's actually a bit more efficient.
Ja.
Absolutely, when you take a look at the charts.
Where his impressive aerodynamics might also start to show their effect. What we definitely liked is the performance, whether it's brutal in the city, brutal on the country roads, or also on the highway. Extremely quick, nicely performant. You could feel at all times that you were moving forward with 517 horsepower in old currency and 910 Newton meters. Charging check, I have to admit, I'm a bit disappointed. 35 minutes feels a bit outdated for 2025 in this price range. It's a bit slow when charging because, for comparison, the Giddy platform, the Smart number 5, 49,000 and a bit change, starts with 800 volts and up to 420 kilowatts of power and 15 minutes from 10 to 80% at the corresponding charging station. Even if it's 17, it's clearly reduced by half at a 100 kilowatt charging stop, no doubt about it.
Richtig, ja.
And even if we say 10% more for 10% more battery or 20% more, it would still be 10 minutes, and 10 minutes are just 10 minutes.
Richtig.
So I can already do a bit with 10 minutes in a
Auf
day.
jeden Fall.
You have to evaluate it for yourself in the end. Yes, the entry price, the rear-wheel drive version as the long range, 78,000 euros. Yes, these are the prices in electric mobility. In the Polestar, similar prices as the friendly competition. Currently, the Advantage is a bonus of 4,000 euros in August 2025. And especially what Polestar excels at are, of course, great leasing and refinancing offers where you essentially offset this seemingly high list price plus all the delivery and setup packages which you might decide to include, and then balance out with a monthly attractive payment, offering you the chance to call such a car your own for a specific period of time. I can only recommend that if you're interested in a sporty, high-performance electric SUV with a unique design, both inside and out, then I believe you're in very, very good hands with Polestar, especially with the quality offered, because an experienced car manufacturer still stands behind it. And I could imagine that a test drive might be something worth considering for you. And maybe have them calculate an individual offer tailored to your needs. I could imagine that for one or the other, it could be a great fit. The Polestar 3 could look quite stylish in front of your house, in the carport and in the garage. And with that, we've reached the end of today's video with the Polestar 3 dual motor with the performance package, the consumption test, and the charging check. I'm curious to see what you'll write in the comments about how you liked the Polestar 3. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up and please double check if you're part of the einfach elektrisch community. We'd really appreciate your support with a subscription. That way, we can keep bringing you even more electric car content. And you'll always stay updated, ideally when the bell rings for a new video. I say a heartfelt thank you for watching. Stay tuned and see you soon. This is your Ollie. You, Stefan, what's up? So, somehow it's still a special car, right?
It's really fun to drive, has plenty of performance. Yeah, it definitely delivers on that promise, no doubt.
The taillights look sharp and stylish.
Everything's great, right? It looks really good.
It just doesn't feel quite right, you know?
SUV-wise?
Ja. Ja.
It looked so flat, so
Yeah,
elegant, and so streamlined. So it already had a unique design combined with really high performance technology built into it.